Hi, I'm Hemali and I am an Organisational Development Advisor, currently working in the public sector within a city council. So what does my job role involve? So as an advisor, we support the OD consultants who lead on the wider programs, and currently our 3 strategic priorities are strategic workforce planning, development growth, and equality, diversity and inclusion. So as an organisational development advisor, I support on the wider programs, and then I also lead on the work streams and projects underneath to meet the ultimate programme goals and objectives. Some of the work streams I've been involved in are leadership and management development, health and wellbeing, employee retention through the exit and leavers survey that we've currently got, and I have been involved in workforce planning in terms of working with direct services to see how we can implement this with them. They lead it, but we can support that agenda with them. So how did I get into OD? I've been working in HR for roughly around 8 to 9 years, and most of that has been in recruitment, within internal recruitment, and I have some experience in employee relations. So I've been in OD for the past 18 months. How did I get into it? It was probably my attitude and my skill set that I have, and the attributes that I bring. And a lot of the time I'm pretty inquisitive, so I ask a lot of questions, and that might be in relation to some of the things that people might say. They might say, it's a team building problem. Well, actually it might not be. So I tend to ask more questions, trying to dig deep, try and find out more information as well. So that's really important, because you need to, the decisions that you try to make should be evidence-based. So, try and find out as much information as you can, and then, think about actually so you think about what the diagnosis is, and actually think about, and then that will kind of get you to what the actual problem is, and that's how you start creating interventions. So that could be from training to training development, that could be a workshop, etc. Could be a number of different things, and then I'd work on creating the content for that. So what do I like about my job? Interestingly, there's never a right or wrong answer. We're working with people, we're working with mindsets, behaviours. These are quite complex things, and it's never an easy, this is the solution. So I love it. I love going through exploring a little bit more, understanding what the issues are, and really coming up with some interventions that might help. Whilst organisational development can be, it's not rigid, it's definitely not rigid. You're not always going to find, and this is something that I've had to learn working in recruitment, because you automatically see the results, where in OD, change takes time. So it's actually working through those interventions and actually seeing what works, what doesn't work, and it's a never ending, I think sometimes, movement into what's next, because what's next is always going to be different. So you're always going to be changing, you're always going to be finding different ways of doing things. So that's what I enjoy. It's really varied, so that I absolutely love that. You're never going to have a boring day in OD, that's for sure. So tips for those people that are starting in their OD career. Like I said at the beginning, even though I've been in HR for 9 years, I've been in OD for the past 18 months. So I would still say I'm still starting my OD career. But what I bring to the table is that inquisitive thinking, it's asking those questions, it's looking at trends, looking at reports. So if you're already working in an organisation, then, what data do they already have? What data can you collect? Is the data that you have answering the questions? If it's not, then what else could you do to explore what the possible issues, and then or challenges that the organisation's having, and what interventions could you put in? If you are still studying and not in an organisation, then what reports could you read? There's obviously the CIPD always put out reports on various different topics, such as such as equality, diversity, inclusion. There's the recent report on the labour market and the trends, and these are the things that I still continuously read to understand what's happening on the outside. The external environment's really important. I work in the local government, so obviously the political environment is pretty important because we are a mayoral led organisation, so these things are important to understand and to continuously learn and explore what other organisations do. I think it's really important to understand, some of the challenges that other organisations come across could be pretty similar to what you're going through. So it's really important to see what they've done and how has it worked for them and will it work for you as an organisation. So yeah. Influencing skills are really important. So once you've collected all that data, once you've actually analysed the data, what it's telling you, you now need to influence a number of people and tell them a story of actually what is happening and where's the gap at and where do we want to go. And it's about getting them on board, and that's the most important thing, is getting people on board. So influencing skills are really important for that. You want to make sure that it's appealing to them and it's what's in it for them. I think that's another important thing that I've learned, is everyone always asks me, so what's in it for them in terms of what's in it for the organisation, and why is it going to be beneficial to them to ultimately go with what you're suggesting as an OD practitioner. So yeah, that's a really important thing. And influential skills comes from really good communication skills, and as obviously I've just mentioned, data analysis. So being good at data analysing is really important. I think it's something that you can learn on the job, I think, or learn throughout studying as well. I mean, we do it quite often. But yeah, it's really important to see the trends and stuff that are coming up. I always find when I work with my colleagues that they, what I might see might be different to other people, so that, always work with other people. So team building and teamwork is really important in OD. I think I always find that my, how I think might be different to my colleagues, so that diverse thinking is really important as well. And lastly, wherever you are with your journey, good luck with it, and embrace the challenges, embrace the change, embrace the learning, and yeah, just take it in your stride, I suppose.